it could be the beginning of the end if he doesn't do two things. First, he must end the Turkish recession. Two, he must end the crackdown on the opposition and oppression of the people. For the simple reason that the voters have shown that they care about economics, and Turkish growth has been negative for the last year. Secondly, clearly the strong hand tactics of the nixing the first round of elections didn't appeal even to AKP voters. Turks may not have a full grasp of what democracy means, but they care deeply about a fair election and the sanctity of the ballot box. So Erdogan is constrained by these parameters, and if he doesn't deliver soon, there will be other parties coming out of AKP, as well as a deepened recession, which will end his reign in some date in the future.
Well, it certainly looks this morning to be his gamble of having these elections again seriously backfired. What do you think he and his team will be thinking this morning? You know, in some quarters, you might say that a first defeat in 25 years isn't really that bad going.
It's really not the first defeat. He lost in 2015, the first election. And remember, his party actually lost in the last general elections. So these things are being repeated by increasing frequency, and only now, with the help of nationalist ally MHP, is he president and is his party in power in the Grand Assembly. So if you look at the surveys, the downslide in AKP's share of the national vote is very obvious. From a peak of 50% in 2014 or so, it's now below 40%. It's MHP which has gained and has raised its vote share to 16% or so. So actually AKP has become dependent on MHP, and MHP is extracting a heavy toll. AKP used to be an Islamist and encompassing party. It had nothing to do, it had no problems with the Kurds. Now it has adopted MHP's nationalist agenda, thus appealing to a much narrower class of voters.
Well, Turkey has been and remains very polarized. Do you think this result will deepen divisions?
No, I think that polarization is over. People were polarized along ethnic, ideological, or denominational fault lines. As long as the economy was ticking along, as long as everybody was getting prosperous each year. So economy wasn't the motivation to go to the polls. But we have seen that change. It is the economy stupid applies in Turkey as well. When the economy entered a recession, which didn't end in 3, 6, 9, 12 months, people started voting based on their economic interests. This is why it is essential for Mr. Erdogan to dismiss Berat Albayrak, to dispense with all of these non-orthodox economic policies and experiments, to move to the center, adopt a more orthodox policy plank, perhaps bring back Babacan or Mehmet Şimşek, and most importantly, since American CAATSA sanctions would destroy Turkish economy, he needs to find as a resolution to the S-400 anti-missile conflict next week in Osaka when he meets Mr. President Trump. The polarization will not save Mr. Erdogan unless he rescues the economy first. Ideology is dead in Turkey. What matters right now is whether the average woman on the street can put bread on her dinner table.